Good morning. It's another great day here in Manatee County. It's a hot one. And I understand why everybody's not sitting in the seats. It's easier to be back in the shade. I'll be back there with the shade quickly. So we'll keep this brief and quick to the point. But again, good morning and welcome to the relaunch of the beautiful Johnson Preserve. I'm Mike Ron, Chairman and District 4 Commissioner of the Manatee Board of County Commissioners. As we always do here in Manatee County, we want to begin by honoring God and our country. So I'd like to do at this moment, if everyone could please stand, and I'd like to bring up Commissioner at Large and U.S. Marine Corps combat veteran Jason Bearden for the invocation.
Thank you, Chairman. If everybody could bow your heads. Father, thank you, Lord, for another beautiful day that you've given us here in Manatee County. Lord, I ask you, Lord, to bless all these people at this event today. Lord, show us, continuously lead us, Lord, in the direction that you want us to go, Father. And we just thank you for all the good things that you've been doing here in Manatee County. And we give you all the glory and praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Commissioner. Please remain standing for the pledge. And what I'd like to do now is to bring up Clayton McCurry, a ranger with the Manatee County Natural Resources Department, to say the pledge. Clayton?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Clayton. Well, isn't this a beautiful park? You know, back in May 22nd of 2018, actually, I was on the Planning Commission at that time, and through the public-private partnership with Manatee County, the Conservation Foundation of the Gulf Coast, Friends of Keep the Woods, and numerous residents throughout the community here successfully conserved this land, permanently protecting almost 44 acres of natural landscape and diverse habitat, as you can see behind me. With contributions from the Floyd C. Johnson and Flo Singer Johnson Foundation, along with the Manatee Fish and Game Association, community sponsors, the Conservation Foundation, and Keep the Woods, they raised nearly $1.3 million, which was given to Manatee County. With this monetary donation and tax dollars, Manatee County was able to fund the purchase of 32.38 acres, which appraised for $3.2 million at that time. The Conservation Foundation donated the adjoining 11.44 acres to Manatee County, which were left by the late Carl Bergstresser, the co-founder of the citizens group Keep the Woods, who advocated for preservation of the 32 acres of woodlands next door to his beautiful homestead. In fact, his home is still standing, and it's the home of Ranger Clayton that lives in there today, who just said the pledge for us. So we are so proud to honor his efforts and display a sign dedicated to Mr. Bergstresser's in the installment of the right here at the information kiosk. What I'd like to bring now is our long-term Manatee County Resources Director, Charlie Hudsaker, who is retiring in October, and we thank him for being here today. Thank you, Charlie.
Wow. Thank you, Commissioner. You're like Jack Kennedy at inauguration, right? You're going to wear that jacket even though it's like 100 degrees out here right now. But thank you so much. I appreciate everyone coming here. It's a wonderful crowd, and it's a wonderful neighborhood. I'd like to talk about that for a minute because I spent 9 years, about 3 blocks that direction, living on this very street when I moved here to Braden Woods. And, you know, neighborhoods it's like a backyard thing, right? From a standpoint of building your environment around you, you can start with your yard. You can start with your backyard to make it a home for animals. Then you can move to the common areas of this subdivision and other subdivisions where everyone takes care of those preserves and set-asides in the development. And then it comes to special places like this. You know, here we have it, let's just say 40 acres. It's like the 40-acre wood. There's a story about that somewhere. But, you know, probably a half mile of shaded trails and partially shaded trails. But you're seeing, you know, it's a small spot in the scheme of things, is it? But it is not. If you're a Carolina wren that I heard this morning when I woke up around my house, which is about 1.5 miles that direction, now, you know, this is a home for them. This is a home for a gopher tortoise that might find his way here. This is a home for 4 deer that almost ran me down. I was here 2 Sundays ago. They flushed the deer and I was bang. And they're here. This is their home. And it can be your home too. The county's home. There's a special spots when even in their small in number, collectively speaking, they are an oasis for what is important for the animals and important plants of Florida, and they're important for us because we're an important animal of Florida as well. You can take a moment to walk through here and listen to this. Isn't that wonderful? Wonderful? When we got State Road 70, a little bit direction that way, you're like, ah. And you can come here and enjoy and appreciate it. You can't get any closer also to environmental protection because water moves from this property and that gentleman's pond over there directly to the Braden River, the water supply of the city of Bradenton. You can't get much closer to protecting the water supply of the city of Bradenton, maybe to get to our little Jake's Landing over there, which sits on the actual reservoir. But you're upstream of that reservoir. So protecting the water quality of this whole all of these neighborhoods, going back to State Road 70, Lakewood Ranch, and here. And then we have this. Yes, it could have been a subdivision. We made a choice to change that destiny and make it into this beautiful place, which is reminded to me each and every time when I hear that. It's perfect. So now it will be important for us to continue to manage this place, and manage it we will. We had a prescribed fire here, a purposeful fire, a year ago to bring this palmetto prairie that you see behind me down to where it should be. This is what a palmetto prairie should look like, except that it's too dense. It's like a carpet. So there'll be some more burns behind that to have some open spaces. You should be able to ride a horse right through there. And a proper Florida environment will have palmetto and will have ground cover, wiregrass, and all the other things that contribute to a foundation of a pyramid that starts here with even the smallest insect that supports the next animal, all the way to the top, where deer are now walking through here, can find a food source and a place of respite. So it's a respite for all of us. I love doing this. And I love it that you love it as well. And it's taking care of it. Our pledge to you is this will be maintained. As long as there is a government of Florida, by God, this place will be available for you and for the deer that are here as now my newfound friends. I almost put their hooves right on my feet and everything else that is here, and it can be your place as well. So welcome to Johnson Preserve and welcome to this great place. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Charlie. We appreciate everything you do for Manatee County and everything you do to keeping the natural wildlife and the natural preserves here in Manatee County. As you've heard, there is an incredible amount of teamwork and cooperation that led to the preservation of this riverfront property. And here with more on this project and how the partnership continues today, I'd like to introduce Christine Johnson, President of the Conservation Foundation of the Gulf Coast. Christine, come on up.
You get paid later. Good morning, everyone. Yes, I am Christine Purvis Johnson, and I am honored to be the president of Conservation Foundation of the Gulf Coast. For those of you who don't know Conservation Foundation, we are an accredited land trust, protecting the land and water in Southwest Florida for the benefit of people and nature. Our service area covers from Tampa Bay, South Tampa Bay, to the Everglades. And this year we're celebrating our 20th anniversary. And in those 20 years, we've protected almost 20,000 acres. We have a dream. We have a dream to create a protected wildlife corridor from Duet Preserve in northeast Manatee County through the Myakka Island of conserved properties to Babcock Webb in Charlotte County and then all the way down to the Everglades. Wouldn't that be awesome? We've named this dream the Southwest Florida Wildlife Corridor, and it could start right here in Manatee County in Duet Preserve. And this property is part of that. But dreams like this can't happen without conservation-minded people who care and want to protect natural Florida for generations to come. And Manatee County is a community full of conservation-minded people. This property, Johnson Preserve, is a fantastic example of what can happen when a community comes together to save land. It all started in 2017 with the estate gift to Conservation Foundation. Carl Bergstresser, his estate donated 11 of these 44, I'm going to round up, 44 acres to us, Conservation Foundation. And working with Mr. Bergstresser's executor, Phil St. John, we learned that the adjoining 33 acres was slated for development by Neal Communities and Neal Land Ventures. Conservation Foundation negotiated with Pat and John Neal to sell the 33 acres to us for $3.2 million. So now we had a contract, but we needed the money. So don't forget, this is before 72% of Manatee County voters chose to tax themselves to create a land conservation funding program in 2020. So enter 3 community activists who stepped up to organize an army of friends, neighbors, conservationists into a newly formed group called Friends of Keep Woods. These 3 people, Phil St. John, Gary Hebert, and Brenda Russell, joined forces with Conservation Foundation. And together, we activated the community to advocate for this beautiful place to be protected forever. With the contract to purchase the 33 acres and the 11 acres that Conservation Foundation had, and the Friends of Keep Woods Army, we were able to convince Manatee County to purchase the property for $3.2 million, the 33 acres. But there was a catch. We had to raise $1 million of that 3.2 in just a few short weeks. And we did. We raised over $1.1 million. With the help, as you heard, of the Floyd C. Johnson and Flo Singer Johnson Foundation, who agreed to a $500,000 challenge grant. And then, as you heard, Manatee Fish and Game also helped and stepped up, not only with money, but also with an army. So in March of 2018, the Manatee County Commission voted to accept our $1.1 million, and that the community so generously donated, and used general funds to make up the difference. But our $1.1 million came with a catch. A conservation easement needed to be on this property held by Conservation Foundation so that it is truly protected forever. And so that was the deal. And now Johnson Preserve is part of the natural corridor, as you heard from Charlie, along the Braden River, a source of drinking water for the city of Bradenton, and will forever be a home to an amazing diversity of plants and animals. Land conservation matters. It matters to plants and animals, and it matters to people, especially people in Manatee County, one of Florida's fastest growing counties. And so we got to act fast and protect our last remaining special places as well as our natural resources before it's all gone and it's too late. After all, saving land is an investment in the community's well-being and prosperity for current and future generations. So Conservation Foundation thanks everyone involved, the entire community. Thank you, Manatee County, for working collaboratively with us to save this special place, for taking care of it, for restoring parts of it, for restoring fire to this fire-needy habitat. Thank you, Friends of Keep Woods, for partnering with us, organizing and activating an army of concerned citizens. Thank you, Pat and John Neal, for selling to us for conservation instead of for development. And thank you to everyone who made a gift to protect this land. It is because of all of you, all of us, that we stand here today. Thank you all for being a community that cares about saving land.
Thank you, Christine, and thank you for all the great work the Conservation Foundation does. We appreciate you guys. At this point, I want to bring up Gary Hebert, the president of Keep Woods, with one more of what this old slice of Florida means to all of us and to the community. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. It was December 2015 when we learned that the 33 acres we called the Woods was going to be altered drastically and permanently. Clustered houses and a road would replace a natural habitat. There were many reasons to save this site, from protection of the Braden River and its wildlife, to flood control and noise abatement. So began our effort to keep the woods. My first call was to Carl Bergstresser, who owned the 11 acres to the west. He said the developer wanted to include Carl's property in the project and told Carl to name his price. Well, Carl refused to sell for any amount. He loved the river, the animals, and the land that he had known all his life. He called it his slice of heaven. His vision was to save the entire 44 acres for future generations. We circulated petitions in nearby communities, and more residents joined the cause. This would become a very difficult journey. Every time we thought we were making progress, there would be more obstacles and setbacks. Most people gave us no chance of success. We didn't give up. Sadly, Carl passed away in July of 2016, but he bequeathed his property for preservation. This would become significant leverage for saving the adjacent land. We formed alliances with the Conservation Foundation and Manatee Fish and Game Association in 2017. And everything changed, because now we had partners who had the resources and expertise to help realize Carl's vision. Eventually, almost everyone, including the developer, favored preserving this wildlife refuge. It all came down to, you guessed it, money. There were arguments over the price, who would pay, whether taxes would be raised. The debate went on and on. Then, the County Commission agreed to purchase the land if the community could raise 1/3 of the funds. We had 10 days to find $1 million. Well, Manatee Fish and Game had already pledged $25,000, and the Conservation Foundation went about searching for the remainder. And the Johnson Foundation responded by committing $500,000. Other organizations and individuals made significant contributions. Amazingly, the $1 million goal was exceeded before the deadline. In May of 2018, the County Commission approved the purchase. And in December, 3 years after this saga began, Carl's property was conveyed to the county. A conservation easement would prevent future development. Carl's dream had come true. We had officially saved the woods. I commend and thank the dedicated volunteers who sacrificed so much to protect this site. We also thank the organizations that helped make this achievement possible, especially the Conservation Foundation of the Gulf Coast, Manatee Fish and Game Association, Manatee Community Foundation, Linger Lodge Resort, and Neal Communities. We greatly appreciate the Johnson Foundation and all the contributors who came through when everything could have been lost. As you walk through the preserve, remember Carl's contribution that helped make the impossible a reality. And welcome to a slice of heaven.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Gary. We'd like to thank everyone for coming today. If you'd like to discover more about the plant and wildlife and Charlie's deer and all that kind of stuff, they're going to be providing walking tours, guided walking tours after we get done here. So please take advantage of that. Now, what I'd like to do now is let's check out the sign and let's get all the key players together for a picture in front of the sign. So pull the sign. Well, I think it's important anytime we can do a public-private partnership. It brings the community together, and we work together to preserve the public lands like you see here today. This land was slated, 33 acres of it was slated to be developed. And what you see is that when a private partnership with the Conservation Foundation, the Neal family, Neal Communities, the county, citizens got together, we're standing here today because of that. And we're sitting here in this 44 acre, this beautiful preserve, the Johnson Preserve, which was the relaunch today because we couldn't launch it. We did a soft launch back in 20, but we had COVID and everything like that, so we could not do a big launch. And so we needed to do some stuff out here for the maintenance of it. Control burns and things like that to bring out the lushness as you see as a Palmetto Preserve sits today. So, you know, it's so important that when the public and the private come together, it just does, we can do great things together. And like you see, this is one of the great things we've done here in Manatee County. Well, this is old Florida. I mean, this is how Manatee County looked 100 years ago, maybe even 50 years ago. And people will come here and they'll be able to walk the trail, walk these walking trails, to the Braden River. They have kayak launches down there where you can bring in your own kayak and launch out in the Braden River. So there's not a lot of places left like this, and we're trying to preserve as many as we can. We just did Crooked River Ranch, Emerson Preserve, and things like that are allowing us to be able to preserve lands like this. And when public comes out, we want them to enjoy this. We want them to be able to use this facility as much as they want. There's people are running on these trails, they're hiking on these trails. So it gives them an opportunity to enjoy what is old Florida like we have today, like we have right now. Well, I said we just did Emerson Preserve. We did Crooked River Ranch. That was just purchased also. And we have other things that we're working on with our LMAC committee, other lands that we're looking at that are environmentally sensitive that need to be preserved. So we'll be bringing those forward as LMAC brings those forward to us and says we need to preserve these lands. 72% of the Manatee County population voted to preserve lands and voted for the county to spend money through taxes and everything like that we put on the taxes for environmentally sensitive lands. And we have a great LMAC committee that does a great job in bringing these properties forward.
So Conservation Foundation collaborated with the Friends of Keep Woods, with the Neal Communities, and with Manatee County to conserve this property. And how we did that is we brought a third of the price. And how we collaborated, we brought a contract that we negotiated with Neal Communities to sell for conservation instead of development. And we brought $1.1 million towards that $3.2 million purchase price. And we brought 11 acres of the 44 acres of Johnson Preserve that was gifted to us in the estate of Carl Bergstresser. And so Manatee County purchased the property, stepped into our contract, and gave us a conservation easement so that we are here to ensure that this land is never developed, never changed from how you see it today, only to make it better, to improve the habitat. So Conservation Foundation has been around for 20 years, and our mission is to protect the land and water in Southwest Florida for the benefit of people and nature. And how we do that is by protecting land. And it's important to protect land because land can do so much for us that we're not even aware of. Land actually cleans the water here at Johnson Preserve before it goes into Braden River, which is the drinking water supply for the city of Bradenton. Nature also provides us places to recreate. Nature provides us clean air, and not only clean water, but clean air, right? And nature, of course, is also a place where we can bring our heart rate down, where we can bring our blood pressure down. And it also creates communities. So a well-used park or preserve is also a safe community because people get to know one another. People get to actually converse and recognize faces and say hello, and dogs get to enjoy. And so parks and preserves, places that we protect, have so much to offer us. Not only, of course, birds and bunnies, but of course clean water and as well healthy lifestyles for us. If you want to get involved with Conservation Foundation or learn more about the environment that we protect and that we live in, go to our website, conservationfoundation.com, and go learn more. You can click on Learn More or get involved. We have volunteer opportunities. We have classes. We have walks and talks in nature. We have plans for people to help us with restoration projects. Lots of things for people to get involved in, whether you want to get your hands dirty or you want to sit in air conditioning. ConservationFoundation.com.
Right. Well, we first learned about the proposed development in December of 2015, and I collaborated with Carl Bergstresser, who owned the 11 acres to the west. And we got together a neighborhood group that petitioned for conservation of the entire 44 acres. And we had a lot of residents that got involved, and Carl passed away in July of 2016, but he bequeathed his property for preservation. So that gave us the leverage we needed to justify conserving the adjacent land. We worked with the Conservation Foundation and Manatee Fish and Game and Manatee County, and we were able to come to an agreement with Neal Communities to purchase the property and put a conservation easement on it so that no future development could occur. We held weekly strategy meetings. We held community awareness meetings where we would bring people in and explain through PowerPoints and so on exactly what we were trying to accomplish. And almost everybody was behind us. There were a few people that disagreed when it came to taxation. They were concerned that they were going to have to pay more taxes. But we overcame that through donations obtained by the Conservation Foundation and Manatee Fish and Game. Well, I want them to feel that this is part of the community, which it always has been, and this is their home. But it's also the home of a lot of wildlife, deer and bobcats, and a lot of birds, swallowtail kites, etc. So it really is a preserve for wildlife in the midst of a lot of urbanization.
So my role involves providing outdoor education and bringing people outdoors. So I'm really interested in anything that we can do to get people to enjoy the outdoors and the natural communities we have here in Florida. Anyone from stroller strolls all the way up to senior citizens, we bring them out into nature and we bring nature to them. We cover all sorts of bases in terms of our activities. We do kayak tours, we do stargazing events, we do hiking tours, we've even done cooking classes. Anything that connects people to nature, the outdoors, or Florida history, we want to have a part of that. So we offer about 40 to 50 public programs every month all across Manatee County. We have a calendar online at mymanatee.org/eco-events, and we publish that every month with cool stuff to do for the public, and most of it's free. So Manatee County does have a volunteer program. We do take volunteers to help us maintain trails and help us lead some of our tours. So if you're interested, check out the Manatee County website, and you can learn how to volunteer there.
Thank you.